Hello and welcome to my channel. We have a different setup today because we are doing a tech tutorial. I'm going to be sharing with you how I use Microsoft Word to create resources for my classroom. And yes, I said Microsoft Word. If you've been online, you may have seen a lot of hateful posts directed at Microsoft Word, or just heard from different people that create resources saying that they don't use it, they don't like it, and they don't recommend it. Here's the thing. This is the cold hard truth. The reason that people are so hard on Microsoft Word is because they don't know how to use it. I'm going to show you how to use it effectively for creating things for your classroom so that you get the results that you want and you don't just insert a picture and have crazy things happen, because we know that that is the chief complaint. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at what happens when you insert an image, and this is why people have such beef with Microsoft Word. This is my Geometry Word Wall thumbnail that I just did recently, a couple days ago. Finally got that done. Big project this summer, so I'm super proud of it. So none of this is anything. I literally went to my keyboard and went like that. And if there's a cuss word or something in there, I am sorry. That is completely by accident. So the problem is you insert an image and it completely broke the text. Let's say it was something important. Part of it's up here on the top, part of it's down on the bottom. What happened? So Microsoft Word is a word processor. It's meant for text. Doesn't mean you can't include images and do other things with it, but it's meant for text. So when you do include an image, funky things happen. You can resize your images, but like this is just, it's just weird. I try moving it. It's going to disrupt the text no matter what you do. And that's just clicking and dragging that in, copy and paste. You'll find the same thing. So one of the tricks is to right click on your image and you're going to look for wrap text. You get a couple of different options. You got inline with text. That's why wherever I put it, it's going to disrupt the text. We have square, which will have the text actually wrap around the image, like to the left and to the right of it. And if I had real text here, I didn't use the space bar, evidently. These are just like long non-words. And if this was broken up a little bit better, yeah, we would start to see more of this, where the text is breaking all around the picture. And it would go square around the picture. You also have tight, which does kind of the same thing. We can go through top and bottom, which has your text only on the top and the bottom. They do give you helpful little diagrams. My personal favorite are behind text and in front of text, because now it's treating it like a layer, and this gives you more control, which is maybe what people are, kind of commenting on, is that they don't have control. So it's treating it like these are separate layers. They're not interacting with each other. I can put the image wherever I want. It's not going to disrupt the text on the page. Now, if you want something really simple, that's, how you can get those happening. The text and image working together without fighting. But the real secret to creating like a worksheet or anything else like that is to use tables. And I didn't mention this, but the reason why I am so gung-ho about Microsoft Word is the equation editor is amazing and really easy to use in a way that I can't use on PowerPoint. If I hit Control, then Enter, it's going to actually bring up the equation editor for me, and I can format my equations from there. That is a separate video that I will link below for you, where you can see that. I didn't want to get hung up on that because I know not everyone watching this is necessarily a math teacher, but that's why I personally am diehard. Microsoft Word is amazing. You just need to know how to use it. So if we're going to be making a worksheet, I'm not going to go into all the specific things here. I think most people are already familiar with them. You got your fonts, font size. I said I'm not going into it, and here we are. These will also change your font size. This one will change your case for you, which is really cool. Like if you wanted your text to go all uppercase, if you want to capitalize each word, toggle case is ridiculous. I don't know why it's there, but thanks. So if you wanted to change without having to retype everything, that's there for you. You can eliminate your formatting. I always go to no spacing. I don't like this way that they do spacing on normal. If you did want to change your spacing though, it's this one with the arrows on the top and the bottom. So you got your standard, the 1.15. I remember that he introduced it with, I think it was Microsoft Word 2007. I think that's when I started using Microsoft Word for equation editing. You got 1.5, 2.0. Remember when you were in school and everything had to be 12-point font, double spaced? I remember doing it by hand one time and just hitting enter after every line because I had no idea when I was in school. We got bold, italicized, underline, strike through, your subscript and superscript. Then you have your text effects. You remember word art back in the day? Actually, is it still here? I remember going to insert and then word art was its own button. There it is. It's still there. It's just you can get to it from here, but you can also do outlines, shadows, glow. Those are my go-to: outline, shadow, glow. A lot of other things here. You can do highlights. You can change your text color. Here you got bullets, numbers. You can do the multi-level lists, which reminds me of taking minutes in National Honor Society. You can change your indents here. So that would be like, I have some text, some more text, some more text. Instead of hitting the tab button, or sometimes the tab button doesn't function the way you want it to, you can highlight and then go to the indent and it will automatically indent your next line of text as well. You of course can justify right, center, left. That's not why we're here for this video. I figured I might as well talk about it while we're there. Here's the secret to actually making Microsoft Word work. It's the table. The table section is amazing. So we're actually going to go to insert and then table, and I'm going to go right here. You can have 10 columns. You can have 8 rows through here, but if you go to insert table, you can type in however many you want. You can also set up the autofit behavior right away. You can have it autofit to contents, autofit to window. Personally, I like to autofit to the window. You can also set as a default for new tables. That is cool. Usually I just go here and just pick what I want. I'm gonna do that. It doesn't really mean anything, so I'm just doing a demonstrational video. But once I have my table here, I'm gonna go to the layout. If I'm setting up a table and I want students to write within the table, I wanna make sure that the height is about 0.3. So anytime that I'm setting a table up for writing, 0.3 seems to be a comfortable height for people to be able to write in. You can change the width of the cells. Autofit is really helpful. You can have autofit to contents, autofit to window. I like to use a fixed column width. Once I have my table set up, I don't want it changing without me telling it that I want it to change. So let's say that I'm setting this up for notes and I want the top of it to have the name and the date. So I would take these 2 cells here and merge them together. Then I can type in name and put in that line. And then I could go over here and do the same thing, and then we could put in the date. So right here, they have all the different alignments I could have. I could have it dead center. Here, I'd rather have it toward the bottom of the cell so that there's room for students to write. But you can put in whatever you want. Let's say I'm making a worksheet. I got 1, 2. I hate when you do this to me though. I like to tell it to stop. Automatically creating the numbered lists, and usually that lasts, but I don't know why it did not here. But I can keep tabbing and just adding whatever numbers I want. You can add in your questions, whatever else you have going on. So I've created my interactive notebook pages using tables. My notes that I use in pre-calculus, it's all in Microsoft Word, especially with pre-calculus and calculus. It's so many equations. So I just have everything set up how I want it in a table. You can get more complicated with your tables. I'm going to leave those numbers there. Let's say I want to insert an image. I could hit enter, and I'm going to pull up my word wall image again just because I know exactly where it is, even though it seems like I'm going through lots of things here. That's not what I want. Okay. I'm just going to pull up this word wall image again. So let's say I want to put an image in there. I'm going to just click and drag, and now it's staying in the column where I put it. And because I did my autofit to be a fixed column width, when I put it in there, it didn't change. Let's say I don't have that set up and this is autofit to contents instead. When I go to put this image in here, now it's changing up the rest of the table, and it looks really crazy now. My columns are all off and it's just all wrong. So There we go. Having it a fixed column width will prevent that from happening. I can add in this cute little image and it doesn't mess anything up. You can also do things with merging. Let's say I wanted this to take up the next row too under number 1. I can go to merge and you see that the rows over here moved. So if I take that out, the cell for number 1, it now includes more space. And you could do that anywhere else that you'd like. I'm seeing now that the table didn't go back to normal after I fixed it from before, but that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back to what I had before. Let's say, I'm gonna just kind of like start from scratch here a little bit. I'm gonna take all that out. Actually, I think this works nicely. All right, let's say I want to do something a little bit different. Let's say I have directions, answer, questions about image. I'm going to start that in the next line. I would make this all one row, so I would merge that together. And let's say this is my image. And I can have all the questions here on the right side of it. So what I would do is click into this cell here and go to split cells. And let's say I want to keep it one column, but I could add in, let's say 4 rows. And now I could have question 1, question 2, question 3, and then question 4. I'm going to redo the alignment on this, make it top left justified. So right now I have a tiny bit of space for questions 1, 2, and 3, and then a ton of space for question 4, and we want to even that out. Instead of trying to figure out like how many lines I need to add in by hitting enter repeatedly, I'm going to highlight these rows here and go to distribute rows right here. And now my rows are evenly spaced apart and I can put in whatever questions I want. And then, you know, hopefully there's still space for students to write. If there needs to be more space, I can click down here, come on, and drag it out. If I do that though, I'm gonna have to redistribute, which is fine. It's just one click. So that's one option. Another option is to, it's hard to click in the box because it's like the image is the full box. I just did it, but one thing I will do is just use the arrows on my keyboard to get there. As long as my cursor is sitting here inside of this box, I can change the height from here with the layout. I like to do that and make sure that everything's kind of uniform that way. If I want it to be a certain height, I could do that. Another thing we could do, let's say we want this question to be a 2-parter, like part A and part B. I could split the cells again and add in columns this time. I'm going to go 2 rows, 2 columns, so it's like a box of 4. I would merge those together, and then here would be A, over here would be part B. Now I'd have to redo the distribution of rows. However, it would not be as even as it was before. It'd be like question 1 and then there's A and B. So what I would do then is look at how much height do I need. So question 2 and 3 look like they stayed the same. Question 4 stretched. Oh no, those are the same. Now in this case, this might be when I want to play with the heights of the question here. Let's say the question only takes up the 1 line. We can leave that alone. But I might be playing with the height of parts A and B until I can get these to be even again. It looks like these are like 0.83 and this is 0.2, 0.7, so it's like 0.9. So roughly even, doesn't have to be perfect. However, if I were to distribute the rows, I would have all the space for the question, and then like, you know, part A and B are a lot smaller. So the key here is trial and error, but play with the tables. Tables are everything. If you decide you wanted to separate, like put a separation between the tables, if you click in a row and you go to split table, it will separate it. So right here in between, I would be able to type in like normal word processor. I can hit enter. The only thing is I cannot rejoin the tables after I do that. So I can't backspace and they go back together. The only way to undo it is like literally with the undo button. How many times do I have to click the undo button for all that crazy text I just did? All right, well, there we go though. It's back together, but the only way to go back is to actually click undo. So it's hard to say without having like a definite thing that we're working on here, but tables are the key to Microsoft Word working for your resources. The only other thing I didn't show that I would like to, let me delete those rows, is the borders. You can change how your borders look. You can actually do that from here on the home screen, but let's say I don't want to have borders around the name and the date. I can go up here to no border. Let's say I don't want borders here around the directions, and click no border again. Maybe I don't even want a border around the image. But now that I got rid of the border on the image, there's no border over here. And let's say I wanted it there. You can click here and you can add the borders in piece by piece. I can add back left border. I can add back the top border here. So you can use the borders to kind of add or remove them as you wish. If I don't want the border between A and B, I can come over here, and clicking here is basically just going to take away that check mark. So I can get rid of that right border. And now it looks like it's all together, but of course when I type, it's going to be stuck at the border there. It's not going to go across the border. I of course could just highlight the whole thing and click all borders, and then they are back. So I wanted to keep this tutorial super short and sweet, but if you have any questions about Microsoft Word, there are probably things that I cannot answer, but if I know how to answer your question, I will. But that is everything for today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.